Chapter 14. Facing Mr. Jones. The weight of unspoken memories had followed Mr. Maxwell for years. They lingered in quiet moments, in sleepless nights, and in the silence between heartbeats. But one question had lived inside him longer than any other, settling like a stone in his chest. He had carried it from childhood into adulthood, and now it waits, dreading the day he would finally ask it aloud. That day had come. Facing Mr. Jones as a grown man required a different kind of courage. He was no longer the frightened little boy hiding beneath a house while hatred marched overhead. Yet standing before the man who had shattered his innocence demanded every ounce of strength he possessed. On a quiet Sunday afternoon, after church had ended, Mr. Maxwell climbed into his car and began the familiar drive from Montgomery to Selma. The farther he drove, the heavier the silence became. The late afternoon sun slipped behind the treetops, casting long shadows across the highway, as though even the daylight was reluctant to witness what lay ahead. His hands tightened around the steering wheel until his knuckles turned pale. At one red light, he nearly turned around. His foot hovered over the accelerator, while doubt whispered that some questions were better left unanswered. He tried to rehearse the words, again and again. But each attempt ended the same way. The question caught in his throat, tangled too tightly to escape. He swallowed hard and stared through the windshield. After all these years, how do you ask a man why he joined a mob that nearly took my life? As he continued to drive, it seemed as though, after every intersection, it offered him one last chance to turn around, and one last chance to leave the past where it had been buried. But with every mile, Mr. Maxwell realized there was no turning back. Not anymore. By the time he pulled into Mr. Jones's driveway, he wasn't just arriving at a house. He was arriving at a memory that had waited decades for him. The front door opened before he reached the porch. Mr. Jones smiled the moment he recognized him.
"Well, look who's here,"
he said warmly.
"Andre, it's been a long time."
Mr. Maxwell managed a polite smile, as he was affectionately called by his first name.
It sure has.
Mr. Jones stepped aside.
"Come on in."
The familiar smell of coffee and old wood greeted him as he crossed the threshold. For a moment, it felt like stepping back into another lifetime. They sat together, talking about old neighbors, familiar streets, and memories that once seemed untouched by pain. Mr. Jones laughed, and Mr. Maxwell smiled when politeness required it. But beneath every sentence, the question waited. It sat between them like an unopened letter, growing heavier and louder. Finally, Mr. Maxwell fell silent. His hands tightened together. He looked directly at Mr. Jones. The smile on the older man's face slowly faded.
"Is something wrong, Andre?"
Mr. Jones asked. Mr. Maxwell drew a long, unsteady breath. For years he'd imagined this moment. And now that it had arrived, the words still refused to come out. He swallowed. Then with every ounce of courage he possessed, he spoke.
Well, for most of my life, I've carried one question.
Mr. Jones waited.
I've gone over it in my mind thousands of times. Today, I need an answer.
A flicker of uncertainty crossed Mr. Jones's face. Mr. Maxwell saw it, but he couldn't stop now. Not after carrying the burden for so many years. He leaned forward.
Mr. Jones, were you ever part of the masked mob in 1927?
The words hung in the air. Neither man moved. Mr. Maxwell continued.
The night history remembers as the last legalized day to hang a black man.
Silence crashed over the room. Not the comfortable silence of old friends, but the crushing silence of truth finally demanding to be heard. Mr. Jones stood and shoved his chair back so abruptly that it scraped across the hardwood floor. He shot to his feet. His breathing was uneven, and his face was flushed with outrage.
"What kind of accusation is that?"
His voice rose, sharp enough to cut through the silence.
How dare you?
He pointed a trembling finger toward Mr. Maxwell.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for even thinking such a thing, much less saying it to my face.
His jaw tightened.
After everything I've done for you, and after everything I did for your mother,
He shook his head in disbelief.
this is how you repay me?
He briefly paused.
With lying accusations and ungratefulness?
Mr. Maxwell never looked away. He didn't flinch. He didn't retreat. He simply held Mr. Jones's gaze. Then he asked again.
Were you?
Mr. Jones's expression hardened.
I told you, no.
His voice echoed through the house.
I have never, and I mean never, been a part of anything like that.
He drew a sharp breath.
And furthermore, I will not sit here while you accuse me of something so vile.
The room fell silent. But beneath the anger, Mr. Maxwell saw something else. Fear. He leaned forward, his voice calm enough to make every word impossible to ignore.
I was there that night.
The words settled between them. Heavy. Unmovable. His voice never rose, and it didn't need to.
Say what?
If someone had told me that you were part of that mob,
He paused.
I would have defended you
His eyes never left Mr. Jones.
because I trusted you.
He paused again.
But I saw you with my own eyes.
The color slowly drained from Mr. Jones's face. His shoulders stiffened. The fingers at his sides twitched involuntarily. For a fleeting moment, the confident man standing in front of him seemed to disappear. And in his place stood someone carrying a secret that had survived nearly as many years as Mr. Maxwell's pain. In an instant, it was 1927 all over again as the memories came rushing back. Mr. Maxwell was no longer standing in Mr. Jones's living room. He was 8 years old again, hidden behind the outhouse, his small body buried beneath brittle hay as torchlights swept across the yard. He remembered every footstep, every voice, and one face he had prayed he was mistaken about, Mr. Jones. The memory had waited decades for this moment. Now it stood between them, and impossible to deny. The color slowly drained from Mr. Jones's face. For the briefest moment, uncertainty flickered in his eyes before years of practiced composure returned. The walls went back up. He pointed toward the front door.
You need to leave.
Mr. Maxwell remained where he was.
No,
The silence between them stretched.
not yet.
He held Mr. Jones's gaze without blinking.
I've waited too many years to leave without the truth.
Neither man looked away. Mr. Maxwell rose from his chair and walked to the front porch. He didn't leave. He stopped just beyond the doorway, speaking behind the closed door as though the memories were easier to face without looking directly at Mr. Jones, who had lived inside his mind for so many years.
The silence from that night sharpened every sound that was made.
He rested one hand against the porch rail.
I heard the old outhouse door groan as it opened.
He paused.
Then I heard you.
From inside the house, Mr. Jones remained perfectly still. Andre continued.
I couldn't visualize you yet, but I recognized your voice.
He swallowed.
I didn't have any doubt whether it was you or not. I heard you fumbling with your torch. You were trying to slide it into the holder.
His eyes drifted into the past.
You got frustrated and said, "Oh, man, this mask has gotten turned around on my face. Now I can't see a damn thing."
Silence followed.
Then, almost as if you were talking to yourself, you said, "I wonder how long we'll be out here tonight."
Andre lowered his head.
It wasn't just your voice that stayed with me. It was how naturally those words came out.
His eyes met the doorway.
Like this wasn't the first time.
Inside the house, Mr. Jones said nothing. But the silence was different now. It had become the silence of a man whose memories had finally caught up with him. Andre drew a slow breath.
Even then, I prayed I was wrong. But when I opened my eyes,
His voice nearly disappeared.
I saw you. You zipped your pants, straightened your mask,
He paused.
picked up your torch,
His eyes never left the doorway.
and walked away with the mob. And I didn't move. I didn't make a sound.
Behind him, the front door opened. Slowly. The old hinges groaned into the silence, the sound lingering between the two men. Mr. Jones stepped onto the porch, one trembling hand still resting on the doorknob. For a long moment, he couldn't speak. His eyes finally met Mr. Maxwell's. Then they fell to the porch beneath his feet. A shaky breath escaped him before he could stop it. It was as though his body had admitted what his words still refused to say. His shoulders slumped beneath the weight of a burden he'd carried for decades. The proud man who had answered the door only minutes earlier was gone. Standing in his place was an old man, exhausted by the truth he could no longer outrun. Then, at last, the words came, not as a confession, but as an excuse.
Those were different times.
His eyes never left the porch.
I'm not that man anymore.
His apology lingered in the air like smoke, thin, fragile, unable to carry the weight it was meant to lift. Mr. Maxwell never looked away. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't move.
Yes, Mr. Jones, you are that man. Because even today,
His eyes held Mr. Jones's.
your first instinct was to deny it. The truth didn't come from your conscience. It came when I had to prove I saw you there.
The words settled over the porch like a final verdict. Tony drew in a sharp breath. No one spoke. Mr. Jones's face crumpled. He blinked once, then again, as though he had finally heard a truth that could no longer be explained away. The silence between them wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with memory, regret, and the painful understanding that healing cannot begin until the truth is finally owned. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. His jaw tightened. A shaky breath escaped before he could stop it.
I didn't know what to do.
He stared at the porch beneath his feet.
I never thought it would go that far.
Mr. Maxwell didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence between them carried the truth neither man could escape. Mr. Jones swallowed hard.
I kept telling myself I wasn't part of it,
He lifted his eyes only for a moment.
but I was there, and I saw what was happening, and I did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The last words seemed to drain the strength from him. His shoulders sagged and his head bowed. Tears slipped quietly down his face. No anger and no more excuses. Only the unbearable weight of a truth he had spent a lifetime trying to outrun. The sobs came without warning, raw and unrestrained. The sound of a man finally standing before his own conscience. Mr. Maxwell never interrupted. He simply stood there. Not in judgment, not in triumph, only as the witness he had always been. As a survivor of Mr. Jones's past, Mr. Maxwell stood quietly, looking at the man who had once towered over his childhood as a figure of fear. Now age had bent his shoulders, and regret had done the rest. For a long moment, neither man spoke. The silence between them carried decades of unanswered questions, buried memories, and wounds that neither time nor distance had been able to erase. Mr. Maxwell closed his eyes. He felt the frightened little boy beneath the outhouse. He felt the man standing on the porch. And for the first time, they were no longer fighting each other. A quiet peace settled over him. The answer he had searched for all those years wasn't found in revenge. It was found in the choice he was about to make. He stepped forward, and without another word, he wrapped his arms around Mr. Jones. The embrace was firm, but not easy, as he trembled beneath the weight of everything they had carried. It wasn't approval. It wasn't forgetting. It was freedom. Mr. Maxwell leaned close.
You're forgiven.
The words left his lips slowly, each one carrying away a burden he had borne since he was 8 years old. Mr. Jones broke completely. His shoulders shook as he buried his face against Mr. Maxwell's shoulder. The tears came without restraint, not because the past had disappeared, but because the truth no longer had to hide. After a long while, Mr. Maxwell reached into his pocket. His fingers closed around something small. He pulled out a grape sucker. He smiled through his tears. Then he placed it gently into Mr. Jones's hand. No explanation. None was needed. The little piece of candy said everything words no longer could. The past had been remembered. The truth had been spoken. And at last, one burden had finally been laid down.